What's up, everybody? JC here, and welcome to a live stream. It's been a while. New day, new channel. Michael's in the house and Jerry's in the house. I have a feeling it's probably not going to be super packed in here tonight, just because again, new channel, new time. Well, not really new time. Usually we do around 7:30, but new day, new channel. Um, I, the whole new channel thing. I mean, that's just YouTube. It I don't know. It's a pain in the ass, but you gotta do what you gotta do. But welcome, you guys. I figured tonight we'll talk a little bit about Haslab. I just got a package, literally just like a few minutes before coming on here. So it's from Amazon, but I'm pretty sure it's an action figure. Hopefully, it's an action figure. Uh, and so I thought we'd open that up, see exactly what's in there. I think I know what's in there, but we'll see. Action figure expert is made it into the house, the new house. What's up, man? So my goal here with this channel is this is going to be the basically where I do all the live streams from now on. I I don't know if I'm going to stick with Fridays. The main thing about Friday right now is just my wife is doing pottery classes at Friday nights right now, and so she's out of the house, and it just seemed like a good time to uh, try and do the live streams. Plus, we're getting into the heart of football season on Sundays, and I feel like Sundays people are going to be kind of distracted. I don't know how many of you guys watch football. I watch football sometimes, but my team's actually starting to win a little bit with Washington. So, a big game this Sunday against Dallas. So I'm looking forward to that. But pottery, pottery, Michael. Where you make things like bowls and vases and such. Saturday, uh, yeah, Saturday might be. It's just Saturdays generally tend to be, just my day where there's not a lot of news, so I can kind of step away from the sites and get things done, other things done. Um, but I don't know. We might, and there's nothing that says. One of the good things about doing the live streams on this channel, like I did a news video earlier today on the main channel, and had I done like a live stream on that channel tonight, one of those two videos, either the live stream or more likely the news video, would, for whatever reason, YouTube stupid algorithm, the views would just go down on that video. Having two videos up in a day, I found generally, at least one of the videos doesn't get very good views. That's why I usually only do one video a day on the channel. But having this over here on the separate channel, there's nothing that says I can't do a live stream as often as I want. So, it's really just kind of getting the audience built up over here on this channel uh, is the biggest obstacle right now. What's up, Sean? Welcome. Poga B, welcome. Actually, seeing a couple new names here. Have I pre-ordered the Black Series Boba Fett with the clean armor? I have. I definitely, that's the one. That's the Boba Fett I've been waiting for. I really don't have a whole lot of interest in the Nomad one, which is actually hitting shelves now. Um, so that's the one I want. So I do have it on pre-order and hoping it arrives sooner rather than later. What's up, Jason? Not too far from me, Norfolk. Welcome, everybody. So, for you guys just arriving, I was just talking about the main reason why I'm kind of doing the live streams over on this channel, and while starting out, maybe some disadvantages because I don't have a lot of subscribers on this channel, but the advantage being that I can do as many live streams as often as I want over here, and then it won't affect my main channel as far as doing regular videos and stuff. So, which for whatever I don't really understand why YouTube does that. They've made it available so you can do live streams. So why do they penalize you as far as their algorithm for doing live streams and regular videos on the same channel? I have no idea. I did. I've. Oh, you went with GameStop. I got mine from Big Bad Toy Store. I thought you said on social media you pre-ordered from Big Bad Toy Store there, Michael. GameStop. I don't know. They got some stuff in pretty quick. So what's up, Matt? Welcome. So just as we kind of wait, letting people kind of filter in. So I got this package literally arrived on my doorstep a few minutes before I came down here to get ready for the live stream. About 99% sure it is an action figure. So I thought I'd go on and just open it up here. We'll take a look. Maybe I misread or something. I swear I thought you said Big Bad Toy Store. GameStop's cool. Oh damn! It's that Christmas gift I got from my wife. Nah, just kidding. It is an action figure. So Lobo is in the house. DC Multiverse Lobo. So I'm waiting on a couple of these. So I've got Reverse Flash should be here soon. And then I have on pre-order at Big Bad Toy Store. I have the Swamp Thing figure. So I'm kind of looking forward. I may have caught my review on the main channel earlier this week for the Lex Luthor and armor. Not too bad a figure. The eyes bothered me a little bit, but overall not too bad. I just got my Excalibur set. Was it yesterday? I think it arrived. I got an email saying it was getting ready to ship like last week, and then yesterday morning I got an email saying my item had shipped, and then it arrived. Like this package was delivered on my doorstep yesterday afternoon, and it was in this huge box. I mean, 3 times the size of that Excalibur 3 pack, and so I'm like, I don't remember ordering anything this big. What the hell is this? And so I looked at it and I saw it was for Hasbro Pulse, and I'm still kind of scratching my head like, what it, because I wasn't expecting the Excalibur set that soon, since I just gotten the email that morning telling me it had just shipped, and then it was in this huge box. But I opened it up, and a lot of room in the box, but it was the Excalibur set, and so it was definitely pretty cool. I haven't opened it yet, but probably will this weekend. Get it set up, my Excalibur team set up on a shelf. Just need Phoenix, Rachel. Let's see. The home video release of Venom: Let There Be Carnage is this Tuesday. Oh, it's streaming now. You can. I haven't done it yet, but I mean, I think it became available to rent on like streaming, like Apple TV and stuff, last week. I think it's probably you probably have to pay $20 or whatever. But I heard the movie sucks, so I've been kind of reluctant to actually spend any real money to watch it. So from what I saw, the movie really didn't get. I mean, from everything I heard, it was like the only good thing was I guess the after credit scene or something, which I guess ties in with Spider-Man or something, or so I've heard. But I don't know. I will watch it eventually, but I don't. I'm not in a super hurry to do so. They just announced Eternals is going to be on Disney Plus next month, like on the 12th of January. So I will be watching that when that becomes available. And I'm still debating on whether I'm going to go see Spider-Man or wait for it to come out on home release. I may go see it, so I'm not. I know everybody's going gaga over the movie, but I'm not convinced that it's going to be this fantastic movie. My fear is it's just going to be a jam, crammed in with all this stuff, and the story is just going to be kind of weak, and I don't know. Yeah, Jerry says wearing a mask for 2 hours wasn't worth it. Are you talking about for Venom or Spider Man? That looks like talking about Venom. Yeah, I was not going to go to the theater to watch Venom. Um, that I mean, just the trailers alone did not give me a lot of confidence that was going to be a fantastic movie. And honestly, the first one was okay. I didn't think the first one was like super great or anything. So Pog says, hoping for Rachel Summers deluxe figures revealed at fan. I don't think we're gonna get Rachel Summers that soon. Um, just based when they announced that Excalibur set, it sounded like they hadn't even started making, doing the sculpting on that one. So yeah, that one I think is going to require a lot of new tooling. Eventually they will get around to it, but I would not expect it to be in the immediate future. So, earliest I would say is maybe the second part of 2022, but even probably more likely we wouldn't see that one until 2023. Honestly, I would rather see them give us either Wolfsbane or Feral so we can finish out our X Factor and our X Force teams before we get around to Rachel. Just because we've had, those other teams have been missing their one team member a lot longer than Excalibur has. So now this next week is going to be a pretty good week for Marvel Legends. We're definitely going to be getting some reveals. Some stuff's going to be going up for pre-order. Um, I've already told you this guys before, but I mean that Doctor Strange wave is I believe going to be going up. It's going to be fully revealed next week. So which says to me, I don't know all the figures in that wave. I've talked about the two comic book based figures that should be in that wave with the Despair and the Sleepwalker. I don't. Doctor Strange obviously is going to be in the wave, but I don't really know what all the other figures are going to be. But I've got to assume, since we haven't even seen a trailer for the movie yet, that it's not going to have huge spoiler like characters in it. So probably like a Wong and I mean, we just got Scarlet Witch, so it's hard to believe that they're going to give us another Scarlet Witch, even though she's in the movie. But I think she's wearing the same costume that she wore in the WandaVision series. So I'm really kind of like thinking what could the other figures be. I mean, unless it's a bunch of I could see it being almost all comic book based figures, and then having Doctor Strange and Wong as the two movie figures. Um, and Lego released images of of one of their sets early. I think they accidentally released the images early, but they're out there now on the internet. So we've seen that Chavez America character, so that could be one. Um, I won't say what the main thing in that Lego set is, just in case you haven't seen it. I don't think. I mean, right now it has. You might be considered a slight spoiler, but I figure that Lego set's going to go up for official reveal probably next week. I have a feeling we're going to see a bunch of Doctor Strange products officially revealed next week. So, um, obviously that's going to be. I'm assuming that's going to be something that is not something they're going to keep secret until the movie actually comes out, or if they if that was their hope, then they didn't do a very good job. Yeah, I mean they do. You're right. You're right, Sean. They do often. Their products come out early and it reveals stuff from movies. But I mean, I got to be honest. This I mean, this just came out the other day, and as I said, I believe next week. Oftentimes these things have these embargo dates. That are planned out by the marketing teams, and my feeling is next week is going to be that date where companies are able to start showing off the products that they're doing for the Doctor Strange movie. Nothing super spoilerish, but just the basic stuff. Kind of like we've already seen. We saw the Spider-Man No Way Home wave before we long before we saw the first trailer for the movie. So it's going to be something along those lines where it's going to be the main characters that we know are going to be in the movie, um, and then some comic book based stuff as well. But Cobra Kai comes out. I want to say season 4. It's coming up here. I think next month. I think it's January, like mid January. I don't know the exact date, but I believe that comes out mid January. Lego already goes on sale even before the movie is released. Yep. But again, I mean, a lot of that, I mean, all that product's going to go on sale before the movie. All right, so let's. Big topic of the week was Haslab. So anybody here, did you back either of the Haslabs or try to back? Obviously, the Rancor failed, so even if you backed it, you're not going to get it. But I'm curious. As I've stated before, I backed the Sky Striker. Technically, I backed two Sky Strikers because we gave one away on TNI, and so um, I got that one for our winner, and then I got one for myself. But the Rancor just never interests me from day one. The moment they said Rancor, I was like, yeah, I don't think I'm going to be getting that. Um, I mean, the way that campaign was handled was pretty poor. I don't know who came up with those stretch goals, but obviously they didn't do the job. But for me personally, I don't think it would have really mattered what stretch goals they included because it just wouldn't have been enough incentive for me. I got to be honest. The only HasLab project for Star Wars that I'm interested in really seeing is a Death Star. To me, why they won't do a Death Star, and I'm talking about for 3 3/4 inch. 6 inch would be cool as hell looking, but way too big, way too expensive. So it would be a 3 3/4 inch vintage collection Death Star playset. But that's really the only thing for me personally for Star Wars that I think I would be interested in seeing right now for another HasLab project. If they do a Death Star, even if it's expensive, even if it's big, I'll find a way to make it happen. But there's not much else I could think of that they could do that would really interest me at this point. Sean says he passed on all three, was tempted on the Sky Striker, but with that Christmas almost here, decided to pass. Yeah, I hear you. I just I So first of all, with the Sky Striker, I really feel like you got your money's worth. At the end, you ended up getting your money's worth. It was $230. Now I know a lot of people are going back and looking at like the last Sky Striker that was released at retail, which was back in 2011. It was released at Target stores. Its retail price was only $34, very very cheap. However, it was only a one-seater Sky Striker. It was not. They didn't just take the original and re-release it. They came up with a new mold that was smaller, cheaper, um, and in my opinion, not as good. I never, even at $34, I never got that one. Um, and then they did a Tomahawk a couple years later at Toys R Us, like in 2015, and that one basically just sat on shelves and collected dust until Toys R Us, at least the Toys R Us around me, it sat around on shelves until Toys R Us put it up on clearance. So, and I didn't get that one either. Um, but this guy, the original Sky Striker, just was one of my favorite vehicles as a kid. The parachute feature was always one of my favorite features. I remember going out in the yard and and taking the pilot, not always Ace, but obviously Ace was the main pilot. I never liked the Ace figure. I always thought that suit he wore did not look like a jet fighter suit. It looked like it more like an astronaut suit. I'm thinking, why doesn't this guy look like Tom Cruise from Top Gun? Um, and instead he's wearing like, essentially what looks like an astronaut suit to me. So I never really liked the Ace figure that much, but I love the Sky Striker, um, and I love the parachute feature. So, which is something because of safety regulations that they weren't able to ever include in any of the other Sky Strikers that they released years later. So that to me was just one of the biggest draws to it. But definitely I would say this one is the best Sky Striker they've done. And then you take into account that you're getting 7 action figures with this Sky Striker. Um, Unfortunately, it would have been 9 had we gotten to that last stretch goal, but we missed it by, it was just a little bit less than 1,500 needed to get to that 18,000, but we didn't make it. And but we still got 7 action figures from, with it, 2 support vehicles to go along with it, a ton of, missiles, blast effects, things like that. The redesign of the ejector seats, which I think are pretty cool. Better quality parachutes than the original toy. We, it, and the flight stand, which for me is really also really helped make it, because that will allow me to have, be able to put it on a shelf and display it really nicely, um, in like flight poses and stuff. So I feel like based on today's market values, the $230 is a pretty fair price. I mean, if you look at like things like, if you look at Star Wars and you look at how much like some of those vintage collection vehicles that have been released recently, like the Slave One and stuff, I mean, those are like over $100. Those were more general retail or like a big box retailer exclusive. So, if in that, like the Slave One that they did most recently had no figures with it. So, I just based on today's market prices. I mean, I'm with you. I wish we could go buy a Sky Striker for $50. It'd be great if we could do that. But I just in today's market, it's just not practical. So for those who are like, oh yeah, $230 is a ripoff, I would totally disagree. When we're talking about the Rancor, that I feel like definitely I feel like was maybe a bit overpriced. Um, and then you add in the fact that the stretch goals were pretty damn weak. Uh, that one I definitely don't feel like was worth the money. Of course, again, going for me personally, there's also just, I mean, if you want to be absolutely honest, if any of these items make you happy personally, if having it, adding it to your collection for whatever reason, then and you have the money to spend, then it's worth it. I mean, if you caught I did the review of the X-Men video game back there yesterday, and that thing costs $750. That's what it's retailing for. Yes, that's a hefty price tag. Is it, you know, is it really worth $750? I can't say for sure, but probably not. I mean, just the fact that the games themselves are not, they're very old games. The cabinet's really nice, but is it really worth $750? I don't know. But when you add in the nostalgia factor, the fact that it brings me joy, then yes, it's worth $750. Now for me, again, I got lucky on that and got it for free, but I was originally going to pay the $750, and had I paid that $750, then I don't think I would be unhappy with it. So if it brings you joy and you're able to afford it, I would never advocate, if you have to give up paying bills or, putting food on your table or, whatever to afford any of this stuff, then I would say you shouldn't be buying it no matter what. But if you've got the money, you can spend the money and it's no problem and it brings you happiness, then, don't let somebody tell you it's not worth the money. And yeah, so that's pretty much my feeling on the whole thing in general. See, Action figure expert. What some people are not putting into engine factor is that these Haslab projects will never be released again, and the molds will never be used again. That's one reason why prices are up there. Well, the prices are higher because they are made in smaller numbers. People are like, oh well, they're making it. You know, the Sky Striker was 16,000 some. You know, I forget the exact number, but it was over 16,500. That may sound like a lot, but for a mass-produced toy, if the Sky Striker was made and was being sold at Walmart's and Targets and Amazon and all those places, the number that would be produced of that toy would be far more than 16,000. It would be more than 20,000. And when you make more of something, the price goes down because you get bigger discounts from the factories. The more stuff that you make, the bigger discount you get. The problem is that Hasbro can't get somebody to carry the Walmarts and the Targets to carry a lot of these items. That's why they end up on Haslab, because they're big, they're expensive, even at regular retail. If the Sky Striker had been released at regular retail, it would probably be cheaper than $230, but it would still be over $100, especially if it included the seven figures and everything. So it would still be very expensive. It just wouldn't be as expensive, but expensive enough and big enough that a Target and a Walmart aren't going to want to carry it because they're not going to think it's going to sell well. And the reason why they think that is because, again, let's go back to the last time we got GI Joe vehicles released at regular retail with the Tomahawk and the smaller Sky Striker. Those I don't think sold very well. I know the Tomahawk didn't sell well. I don't know. I don't remember about the Sky Striker, but I know that Tomahawk they did, which was only released at Toys R Us. That thing sat on shelves, and people complained. I don't. That one was like $40. I think that retailed for $40, and people were complaining back then that that was too expensive. They're like, I don't want to pay $40 for this. It originally cost like 25, $30, and so people didn't buy it for whatever reason. I never had the original Tomahawk, and I didn't get the new one either. So I'm not. I don't remember what the differences were between the two. If it was smaller or something. But what I know is it didn't really sell, and so that sends a message to these retailers: they're not going to want to carry this stuff. So that's why it ends up on Haslab. Now you could argue that Hasbro, while they obviously can't get it to the big box retailers, why can't they just sell it directly to the consumer as like a made to pre-order? And that I don't really have a good answer for. I mean, I suspect it's because Hasbro is reducing their risk. They see other companies do these crowdsourcing campaigns. I know a lot of people will say, well, Hasbro's a multi-million-dollar company, so they shouldn't be doing crowdsourcing. Well, my thing, why not? If Super 7 or Mattel or Joe Blow decided he wants to try and make an action figure or something, can do a crowdsource, why can't Hasbro? And if Hasbro sees that it's successful and it's become a popular trend, you better believe as a business they're going to try and take advantage of that. You guys kind of set that precedent, that crowdsourcing is a way to go. McFarlane does. I mean, everybody's been doing it. So I if you want to take a stand against crowdsourcing and say I don't believe in crowdsourcing, I think it's a lazy way to get a product to manufacturing. I think somebody should have to sit down, come up with a comprehensive business plan, find a way to get the funding, either go get a loan or get investing funds, capital investment or whatever. Get the money, have it made, done the research so that there's enough demand for the actual product so that when you've spent all the money to have the product made, it sells. You go out to the retailers and you negotiate with them so that they actually sell the product. If you've done all that and then you get your product out and it's successful, then you're a brilliant business strategist. And if that's your feeling, is that's what people should do in order to get an action figure made, then I think that's I think that's a much more legitimate stance to take. But if you're like, well, this guy, it's okay for this guy to do this, but it's not okay for this guy to do it, that, I think you lose some credibility with the argument when you're kind of picking and choosing who you think should be able to do crowdsourcing. If you have no problem with crowdsourcing in general, then I think, anyone who wants to do it should do it. And if they come up with a product that gets enough demand and is able to sell enough of them that way, then, they must be right to do it. And while Hasbro failed on the Rancor, it's, other than the Cookie Monster, which I don't really count because it's not action figure based, they've been successful with all their other Haslab campaigns. And so I imagine even with the one failed campaign, they will continue to do it. But I see that a lot. It's like Hasbro shouldn't be doing crowdsourcing. Well, if you're fine with everyone else doing crowdsourcing, but you're just trying to single out Hasbro for whatever reason, I don't think you have a lot to stand on. And again, you guys, and I don't, I'm not saying you specifically, but I'm saying as the people in this hobby in general, they have definitely set this precedent that crowdsourcing can be successful and is popular. And when companies see that, when businesses see that, everybody, when they see there's a way to make money, everybody's going to jump in and do it. It's just how things work. So, and the other thing is, you set this precedent where you're willing to pay a lot of money for these figures. I see these crowdsourcing things from these smaller guys doing like 3 3/4 inch figures that are going for like 25, 30 bucks. I'm like, damn, that's a pretty expensive 3 3/4 inch figure, but people seem to have no problem spending that kind of money on those figures. So, I don't, when those small companies do it, I don't hear people, well, they probably do. I just am not really paying that close attention, but I don't hear as many people going, "Oh man, that's way too expensive. I'm not going to back that. That's just really too expensive and stuff." So I feel like the people in this hobby set these precedents, and then when it becomes trend, when it's been established as a trend, then all of a sudden people start to get mad because everyone else starts doing it, and it's like, Hasbro will stop doing it when when people consistently don't back them. But I really don't think that's going to happen, because I think Hasbro keeps, for the most part, Rancor aside, is doing stuff that a fair number of people really want. And, whether it's Unicron, which is back here, I love the Unicron. Was it 100%? Did it come out 100% how Hasbro showed it originally? No, they made some changes. But I love my Unicron. I don't regret buying it. It's a great display piece. I've wanted a big giant Unicron like this since I was a little kid when the original movie came out, and I am very happy with it. Same thing with the Sentinel, which is over here. I know you guys can't see it as I'm pointing to it, but Sentinel, again, great display piece. I've had a lot of fun with it. No regrets. I mean, for me personally, I have not had any major QC issues, but and that's the other thing I think people probably should realize with a lot of this stuff. So this figure, while obviously it was done as a crowdsourcing item, is still primarily made exactly the same way as a regular 6-inch Marvel Legend figure. It's a mass-produced figure that is constructed in factories. The Hasbro Marvel Legend team isn't sitting there inspecting every single figure that comes out of the factory, I don't think. These are mass-produced in a factory. They're going to ship out, and not every single one of these figures is going to be perfect. There's going to be, some quality control issues, just like there is with 6-inch figures. It's inevitable. It's a bigger figure. It's, more plastic involved, but so it's more expensive. But as far as the actual construction of this figure, it is no different than just a regular 6-inch Marvel Legend figure. And if your figure arrives and you have really serious issues with it, then I think you have every right to be able to return it for your money back. I've seen some people say, "Well, I tried to get Hasbro to take mine back and they refused." If that is really the case, then I would say that's bullshit. But and unfortunately, because they've only made a limited number of these, it's not like they can just replace it with another one. And they're not going to go make another one so they can replace yours. So unfortunately, in a case like this, your option, if you really are dissatisfied with it or you have a serious issue with it, then your only recourse is going to be able to return it and get your money back. So, but as long as Hasbro's willing to do that, you know, I said the same thing about the Unicron because some people were upset about some of the minor changes they made with like the mouth and stuff. If you were really truly that upset about it and you wanted your money back, then I think because Hasbro made that change and they did not very well communicate that to people, um, which I would fault Hasbro in regards to that. They should have been upfront when they decided to make those changes to Unicron and let everybody know. But if it really upset you so much so that you didn't want it anymore, you wanted to return it, then I think Hasbro should have should allow you to do that. And I've not heard anything, from everything I've heard, Hasbro generally will allow you to return these things. I've heard some people get upset that they didn't want to return it, they just wanted a replacement, and like Hasbro didn't have a replacement. And it's kind of like when I talked about the X-Men game. The reason why Target canceled my order and just refunded my money is because they thought it had been lost and they didn't have any more to send me. They couldn't send me a replacement. So the only option they had was to cancel and reissue. Now, I would have preferred Target to had actually just taken the time to try and find out where it was before they canceled and reissued or, refunded my money. But, but that would have been better customer service, though again in my particular case it worked out for me, but still at the time I was like, can you just like see if you can track down where it is, not cancel and refund my money. But the reason why they basically were just like, we're canceling and refunding your money is because they didn't have any more of the X-Men arcade machines to send out to me. And it's the same thing with the Sentinel. If you have a problem with your Sentinel, your option is going to be to return it and get your money back. But these, some people seem to be under this impression because it was done through this Kickstarter, like it's somehow made differently than every other action figure that Hasbro makes. And I don't think it is. Again, it's just a mass produced action figure that comes from a factory. Hundreds of them are made in the factory, and when that happens, they're not. I don't think they're hand inspected. Each one is not hand inspected. So you're going to end up with some that are going to have some issues. Sorry. I'm just like comments that I read and like I'm just kind of giving you my thoughts on. And one of the reasons why I'm a little hesitant to talk about these things is because I always feel like I'm defending Hasbro, which is not my intention on its own right, but I am just because I'm familiar with how these things work. I'm trying to explain to you why these things happen. I'm not necessarily in every case. I'm not saying Hasbro's right. I'm not telling you. I'm not sitting here trying to say we should all be thankful that Hasbro's even make. I mean, I hate people who say that. Oh, well, we should just be thankful that Hasbro is even making these things and even giving us the time of day. That I don't believe for 1 minute. Um, we are the consumer, and if we're unhappy with the product, that's why I say Hasbro should take steps to, at the very least, refund our money if that's what we want. I do sometimes wonder though if how many people really, they're going to complain online about something, but then are they actually going to return it, or are they going to keep it because it's not really as much of a big deal to them as they say. It's going to differ from every person, but sometimes I do that question crosses my mind. So If you're asking me, Michael, so the Sentinel and Unicron are the only two Haslabs that I've gotten in hand that I've backed. I have also backed the Razor Crest. I backed the Razor Crest last year for Star Wars, but that one has not arrived yet. In fact, I've been thinking, I thought that was supposed to start shipping out around this time, but maybe it's next month that they're supposed to start shipping out. Um, but and I did back the Sky Striker, this most recent one, and I backed Galactus. So those are the ones I've backed. I did not back the Sail Barge. I did not back this year's Transformer one. I didn't back the Rancor. But the main reasons why I didn't back those is because those particular items just didn't interest me that much. I wasn't that interested in a sail barge. Especially, I mean, it was cool. That sail bar, I saw that one in person. That was back before COVID and stuff. And so we saw it at the conventions and Toy Fair and stuff. And I mean, that was really nicely detailed, that sail barge. But it just, for me personally, it just too much space. The money was definitely expensive, and just a sail barge in its own right, it's just not something I had been dying to get. Same thing with this year's Transformer. I mean, those are Transformers I've never really been familiar with. They're from overseas, and so and that one I wouldn't even say was super duper expensive. It just didn't have personal interest for me. I feel like I hear people, talking about like for Marvel's next HasLab project, probably, this coming year, if they're going to do like a vehicle or something. When Hasbro starts doing, Marvel Legend vehicles, I'm probably going to be less interested in getting them because, you know, a Blackbird for the X-Men would be cool, but I don't think it would be a great display piece. You wouldn't be able to really display figures on it very well. It would take up a lot of space. The Blackbird design to me is not, I mean, it's kind of old and dated, and I don't know, just for me personally, it doesn't have that much appeal. So, if they did something like that, or a fantastic car, I don't think I would be that interested in getting a fantastic car. I mean, if it was under $100 or something, maybe, but if keep assuming it's going to be in the same price range as most of the other Haslabs, then things like that just really wouldn't interest me. So I feel like Hasbro would be better to stick with doing figure characters, large, tall. One of the advantages that Marvel has is there are a lot of these really big characters out there that they can do as action figures, like the Sentinel, like the Galactus. I'd love to see a Celestial. I mean, um, I think that would be a cool HasLab. Certainly cooler than some type of vehicle. But I feel like if they go to vehicles for HasLab Marvel Legend projects, they are not going to get as many backers as they've been getting with like the figures. Sean says the Razor Crest, or yeah, January is either December or January, but I think you're right. I think it was probably late January that they said that was supposed to start shipping. A Punisher van would be interesting, but I feel like, I mean, if they did, that shouldn't be as quite as expensive. So I could maybe see that if they decked it out with a lot of guns and stuff. Um, that might be, if it wasn't super duper expensive, that might be an interesting vehicle to see them do. But even that, I mean, that's very limited. I mean, basically, you'd be able to use your Punisher figure with it, and what else are you going to do with it? So I don't know. But if they decked it out with a ton of guns inside and things like that, then that would be interesting to see. But I'd still probably rather have something like a Celestial, or you know uh, a really decked out Hulkbuster would be really cool. Not as tall as Galactus or Celestial, or Celestial or Sentinel, but should be really bigger than the Hulkbusters that they've done already, and more detailed. That would be a kind of a cool HasLab project to see them do, in my opinion. Updated Fing Fang Foom. I could, yeah. I don't. I'd rather probably see Fing Fang Foom than the Mole Man monsters. I wouldn't mind seeing a Mole Man figure, but I feel like the monsters would be a little obscure. But I mean, I missed out on the. I didn't get the. I don't have the previous Fing Fang Foom that they did. Um, but to me, almost, I feel like Fing Fang Foom would be better suited for like a build a figure like they did before, than like a Haslab project. But I mean, that begs the question of whether Hasbro wants to start doing cheaper items for Haslab, you know. But my feeling is if they think there's a chance they can get it out at retail, they're not going to go the Haslab route, because they're going to make more money. That's the other thing. Whether you realize it or not, if Hasbro can get a Target and a Walmart to carry the product, they're going to make a lot more money from it than they are selling it through Haslab, just because of the numbers. So, anyone who thinks that Hasbro's selling stuff on Haslab to make lots of money, they're crazy. If they could get it at Walmart and Target, if they could get it carried at every big box retailer, that's the route they're going to go. Every any time of the week. That's just, they're going to make so much more money that way because they're just going to sell so many more. If you think about how many Walmart stores and how many Target stores there are in just this country alone, if every single store carried, 5 items of something, I mean, you can just see how that starts to add up. Uh, it's a lot. So I feel like a Punisher van, even a Fing Fang Foom, they probably, if they really want to do those, if they think there's enough demand for that, they probably could find a way to get that at retail as opposed to going the Haslab route. Obviously I can't say that for sure, but that's kind of my feeling, especially with like the Fing Fang Foom, since they did it one time before. We do need we need Mephisto before we need Blackheart, but those definitely, if they ever got those out, I don't think would be Haslab, but yeah, um, Mephisto and Blackheart would be cool. But going back to, so the one thing where I don't, other than just they're trying to reduce risk, they see all these other companies doing it. I do feel like I don't know why they can't take a page from Super 7. Super 7 doesn't really do crowdsourcing. They do made to pre-order, and I'm not exactly sure how that works, because my understanding is a pre-order, if you do a pre-order, you're not supposed to charge somebody until it actually ships. Um, Now, I'm not a retail expert, but back in the day when I dabbled in, when I was looking to open a comic book store and stuff, I seem to recall that was a stipulation about pre-orders, is that you can't charge somebody for a pre-order until it's ready to ship out to them. So, and but yet Super 7 essentially does that. They charge you up front. They clearly stated on their website and everything that they're going to charge you, and so maybe that's how they work around it. I don't know. They also only do like a set time period. You notice Super 7, when they open their pre-orders for stuff, it's only for like a couple of weeks. Now, other places, Super 7 allows other places like, Big Bad Toy Store, Entertainment Earth, to carry those products and carry them at cost, meaning that Super 7 is selling those same items that they're selling themselves at wholesale, so that the retailer can then turn around and sell it essentially at the same price that Super 7 is selling it for. It might vary a few dollars here and there, but generally, when you go to buy an Ultimates figure off of Entertainment Earth or Big Bad Toy Store, it's going to cost you the same $55 it would if you pre-ordered it from Super 7. But Super 7 charges you up front. Um, Whereas Entertainment Earth and Big Bad Toy Store, if you buy through them, they don't charge you generally until the item actually ships. So I don't know how Super 7 technically does that. I'm sure there's a way they found to do it. And so I feel like Hasbro should try and take a page from that. Um, though I guess that really wouldn't change anything, right? Because I think the biggest complaint people have with the whole crowdsourcing thing from Hasbro is they don't like being charged up front for the item. So yeah, I guess that really actually wouldn't matter much the way they do it. I don't know how Super 7 calls it a pre-order as opposed to I don't know. Like I said, I'm not really a retail expert, so maybe some of you guys out there that have comic book shops. I'm not seeing any of you guys out there. So, but yeah, I'm not sure. But yeah, so I agree that it would be nice if Hasbro just did it as a made to pre-order. So they're still only making, they're making basically only the ones that they have orders for, but they're not charging you until till it's actually ready to ship. Though I got to be honest with you, I actually prefer when they charge me, um, because when I go to buy something, I know I have the money in the account right now. I'd rather them take that money now than a year from now having to make sure even remembering that I have the item on pre-order and then making sure that I have the money still in the account that a year later. So I actually prefer that they take the money right away, as opposed to waiting until it actually ships to then charge me. But that's my personal preference. um, I certainly can understand why some people might not like that. Sean says, wrong show, Sean. But you never know. Never know when Mephisto might pop up. I obviously, and I'm not going to say the name because I'm not sure how many of you keep up with all the rumors and stuff, but obviously there's been a very popular bad guy character rumored to be appearing in Hawkeye, at some point. But I think like rumors initially said he was supposed to first appear in this week's episode, and obviously he didn't. So if he doesn't appear in next week's episode, I'm going to start to wonder if those so-called rumors aren't full of shit. I think, I mean, there have been seemingly some hints to that character leading up to this, so I think he probably will show up next week. But what's up, Everett? Welcome. What? Are you having a problem with my audio? Jerry's got me worried now. I'm afraid you guys aren't. I'm sitting here talking. You guys aren't hearing me. No problem about being late, Everett. All right, good. At least as long as somebody can hear me, that's all that matters. I think there'll be a Star Wars Haslab next year. Will it be Black Series? I don't know. See, I mean, I know everyone's like, oh, we need like 6-inch classified Haslabs. We need a Sky Striker that's classified. And I feel like people don't realize how big that would actually be. If they did a 6-inch Sky Striker as if they made that, that thing would be humongous. I don't know how many of you who collects Star Wars got the Black Series TIE Fighter that they did when Force Awakens first came out. But that thing is huge. And like mine sits in storage because I have no place for it. There's not much you could do with it. And even like hanging it from the ceiling, it would hang down so low that you'd always be bumping your head on it. It's just, it is so big. And so I feel like while these things would be cool, I mean, the TIE Fighter looks cool, but it's just, there's not much you can do with it. And so I feel like, people are basing these decisions on just what sounds cool. I'd love to see a 6-inch USS flag. That would be awesome, but there's nowhere in hell I would have the room for it. I don't even know if I could find room for a 3 3/4 inch one. But, most of these things are just would be way too big, heavy, not very manageable, expensive. I mean, if you're complaining about $230 for a 3 3/4 inch Sky Striker, do you know how much a 6-inch classified Sky Striker would cost? Probably over $500. So I just, people say they want these things, but I have to really wonder how many people would actually commit to these things if Hasbro actually made them. I think there are some GI Joe vehicles that Hasbro could get away with doing for a 6-inch classified, like his tank, which is a smaller vehicle, or a Fang helicopter, or a Claw, the Claw glider, or a Trouble Bubble. Those are vehicles I feel like you could do for 6-inch classified, and I'd love to see them do Zartan Swamp Skier. But you start talking things like Sky Strikers and Radlers and Night Ravens and those types of vehicles, and I just think you're getting way too big to really be practical. Unless you live in like some mansion somewhere, uh, I really don't feel like it would work very well. It'd be awesome to see. I'd love to see it just from like a design, you know, but but I just I can only speak for myself, but I don't think I would be able to afford or have the room to be able to justify buying such items. And like I said, I go by that Tie Fighter that they did a while back, and it's just like, yeah, I just don't have the room for it. I didn't even get the snow speeder that they did for Black Series because not that it was so big, but I feel like my main thing about the snow speeder was, well, what's the point of having a snow speeder if you don't have an AT-AT to go along with it? And it was just like, there's no way you're going to do a 6-inch scale AT-AT. So it just felt like the snow speeder wasn't really worth getting. At one point they were talking about doing an X-wing for, the year after the TIE Fighter. They were supposed to do an X-wing, which I think they ended up canceling because I don't think the TIE Fighter sold very well. Um, and again, a 6-inch Black Series X-wing would be really cool looking, but it would be humongous. So I don't know as far as how many more Black Series items they could really come up with that are practical for Star Wars. Again, for me, Star Wars, I want a damn Death Star, and I'm really not interested in seeing anything else from Haslab unless they give us a Death Star. Thanks, Jason. And I understand if that was like one of your favorite vehicles as a kid. I mean, that's kind of how like the Sky Striker, even though we're not talking Black Series, but I mean the Snow Speeder probably is about the same size as like a Sky Strike, a 3 3/4 inch Sky Striker, but maybe a little bigger. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, I'm not saying every vehicle. I mean, the size of the Snow Speeder is not too bad. It's just to me, it was like, well, I don't really need a snow speeder unless they're going to give us an AT-AT. And even if they gave us an AT-AT, I don't think I would have the room for it. But I also don't really see much, chance that they would actually give us a 6-inch scale AT-AT. I mean, again, you know how freaking big that would be if they did a 6-inch scale AT-AT? It'd be crazy. the 3 3/4 inch AT-AT, which is an awesome, one of the best vehicles that they've done for Star Wars. I mean, that thing is big enough on its own. Jerry would like a Haslab Ghostbuster Firehouse. Well, are you talking about for 6 inch or 3 3/4 inch? I think 3 3/4 inch would be doable, but I feel like we're not going to see a whole lot more in the way of action figures for Ghostbusters from Hasbro. I mean, maybe I don't know how well the movie's done overall. If it's been deemed a huge success. I mean, I know it did pretty well in its opening weekend, especially during the pandemic. But I don't know how that translates to, are they going to do a sequel? Is Hasbro going to try and crank out more toys? I mean, we got that 2 pack here, but I think that was long planned. They just couldn't show it until the movie was released. But being that they showed basically no new Ghostbuster toy products during PulseCon, I feel like they're not planning on doing a whole lot more with the Ghostbusters license as far as toys. I feel like the biggest problem with the Sky Striker was Hasbro has basically had put the 3 3/4 inch figures on hiatus for some time. I mean, we had those, a few of those retro Walmart figures, but for the most part, Hasbro's really not been doing a whole lot with 3 3/4 inch. So I felt like they should have probably launched their new O-ring line first and got it established, got people back into collecting 3 3/4 inch, and then done a vehicle for Haslab. I think starting off with a vehicle when people hadn't really been collecting 3 3/4 inch much here recently, I felt like hurt them. I also, they never showed us like how a modern figure would fit in the Sky Striker, which those modern figures, at least compared to the original O-ring figures, are a little bit bigger. So I know there's been some concern out there that the modern 3 3/4 inch GI Joe figures are not going to fit super good. Super. They're going to be kind of tight fitting into this Sky Striker for O-ring. So maybe these new O-ring figures are a little bit bigger than the originals. I don't know, but I felt like they should have addressed that at some point during the campaign. I also thought it was odd that they never really showed us like side by side comparisons. They threw up some images where they look like they photoshopped image of the old Sky Striker with an image of the new one, but they never really like they didn't take the original Sky Striker and hold it up on camera with the new one and say, look, this is how they compare with one another. I felt like there's some things they could have done better with the GI Joe campaign. Certainly wasn't handled as bad as the Star Wars one, but but I felt like there were some things they could have done better with the GI Joe one. Now, I know some of you, Hasbro Star Wars brand team member Patrick. Uh, I don't think we'll be seeing Patrick in any future live streams anymore, and I know some of you will be very upset about that. And I say that because not because he was fired. He was not fired. He was actually promoted to a global marketing position um, last month. So because of that, I don't think we'll be seeing him on like live streams and stuff. He's not going to be basically the brand manager in the face of Star Wars anymore. So um, just throwing that out there. I don't know who will be taking over his position. I don't think they've announced that yet, but uh, maybe. You're assuming that they've got figures ready to go with villains. I don't know if that's the case because I have a feeling that perhaps the studio kept that secret even from Hasbro until like the last moment. So I imagine eventually we will get those characters, but I don't know if it'll be right away. In fact, I'll say unless they're store exclusives, almost definitely they're not going to be right away. All right, well, it's been a little over an hour, so I think we're gonna call it a wrap for tonight. But I do want to appreciate everybody who has joined in tonight. Everybody who's come over to the new channel. Hopefully, everybody here has subscribed to the new channel. Um, Again, this will be where all the live streams happen. I'm still, again, because of this being where I'm doing the live streams, I can do them as much as I want because, one of the reasons why, anytime I do, first of all, doing two videos on the same day on the same channel is always bad for the algorithm. Um, this channel is not even monetized. I don't even have enough subscribers at this point. I mean, you guys can't make super chat donations on this channel even if you wanted to. Um, and probably be a little while before that would even be an option on this channel. So it's really just whatever I feel like it, or I think that you guys are interested in me doing a live stream. So there's really, it's probably better, to try and do, right now, I'm going to stick with Fridays at least, but, maybe I'll do more. Um, so if there are days in the middle of the week, like, when this becomes a comment, regular comments, if you want to like leave a comment and say, what days you think would be best, days or time that you think it would be best for you. Probably not going to go back to Sundays for a little while, for a couple of different reasons. Maybe next year, early next year, we'll hop back into Sundays if that's a popular day and time for you guys. But if there's like during the week, later I think is better. Obviously I assume most of you are working or such in the middle of the day. Um, so I, but basically what I'm saying is if there are times and days that work best for you guys, let me know and I'll see if I can come up with a schedule for live streams. And like I said, I might end up doing more than one live stream a week now on this channel. So and just kind of play it by ear. But I'm actually pretty impressed with the turnout tonight. I was kind of expecting to be sitting here talking to myself tonight since it was a new time and new channel and everything. So I do appreciate all you guys coming in tonight and talking with me. So as always, guys, stay safe out there, and I'll keep it to the regular channel for regular news videos. Those will go up, continue to go up regularly, and probably I'll mix in some reviews as well over there. But definitely, this will be the place for the live streams. Um, and like I said, definitely appreciate you guys tuning in. Stay safe out there, guys. Until have a good weekend, have a great weekend, and until next time, guys, I will catch you later. And I missed my cue. And I missed it again.